I was late to the game on The Room. It's been around for 14 years. There was a billboard that Tommy paid for himself to have up on Highland for 5 years, and it was like him with a lazy eyelid sort of glaring down at you, and it said The Room, and then there was a phone number. And I was like, what movie has a phone number on it? I just always thought it was this weird cult, just some odd LA thing. Call the number and this crazy, weird vampire can be in your movie or something. And the book came out 4 years ago, and I'm like the only guy that came to The Room through a book. It was such an incredible, bizarre story, unlike any other Hollywood story, but underneath it was so universal and moving because it's the story of outsider artists trying to achieve their dreams. I went to a midnight screening in Vancouver, and it was incredible. It was like an event. Spoons and footballs and tuxedos and everyone yelling at the screen and lots of weed, and it was just incredible. The first time I ever talked to Tommy was on the phone to get his life rights. I didn't want to suggest that I play him in case he didn't like that idea. I had no idea what he was going to think about that, so I was very sheepish. He goes, so who play me? I was like, well, I don't know, Tommy. Well, how about Johnny Depp? And I'm like, I laughed. He's like, why? And he was immediately, he's like, why are you laughing? And I'm like, well, Johnny Depp's like the biggest movie star in the world. I don't know. And I was like trying to change the subject. We go back to before. I say Johnny Depp, and you laugh. Why are you laughing? I'm like, all right, Tommy, I'll ask Johnny Depp. We'll see if he'll do it. You don't go down that road. You don't know at the end of alley, you know? And I'm like, very wise, Tommy. Yeah, very, very wise. Tommy had watched my TV movie of James Dean many times, but I didn't know that. And Tommy goes, yeah, James, I've seen your stuff. You know, you do some good things, you do some bad things. I'm like, okay, thanks. Yeah, coming from you, Tommy, thanks, man. Yeah, maybe I'll direct you in a movie someday, huh? And yeah, okay, maybe. But then later I learned that the two people that he wanted were Johnny Depp and me. When I first read the book, that idea that Tommy is unlike any other person, this story is unlike any other story, but underneath, I could completely relate. And I realized that this is an incredibly personal story for me. We premiered it at the Chinese Theater. When Tommy premiered The Room, he premiered it at this theater on Beverly called the Laemmle Fairfax. But he drove in his stretch white limo. He had made all these T-shirts for The Room, and he drove to the Chinese Theater, popped out of the sunroof, and threw his Room shirts at everybody outside the Chinese Theater, and that night said, "Hi, don't go see that movie. Come see my movie." And then there we were, 14 years later, at the Chinese Theater premiering a movie about his life. It was kind of incredible. When Tommy introduced his movie 14 years ago, he said, this my movie, this my life, be cool. And I said, I'll say the same thing, this my movie, this my life, be cool. I famously stayed in character, both in front of the camera and behind the camera when I was directing. I learned later, my brother and Seth would warn people, they'd be like, all right, before you go on set, just realize it's a little weird. James is, directing as Tommy. They would show up and just be like, what the F? Like, this is insane. But I think it also just helped the vibe. And like to be Tommy, I think just created an atmosphere.